Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia and I'm coming to you from the UK. Today is Wednesday, the 12th of October? No, November 2025. I can't think, honestly. It's been a while since I last recorded a podcast episode, but it's been ridiculously busy and it still is, and I haven't slept very much. So excuse any funky connections going on there, but I did think I should show you what I have been knitting recently because I have been finishing a few things and more importantly I have been casting on lots of things. So I thought I'd show you what I've been up to. Very quickly, my thrown together work from home outfit today is last year's Stephen West mystery knit along, which I wear this all the time. This is one of my most worn shawls. So that's really handy. I knitted out of Cascade 220 non-superwash, which is like a beautifully woolly yarn, and I threw in some different colors of mohair, and it's not too big, it's not too small, it's just perfect. And as you can tell, I'm wearing it with my Aries sweater, which doesn't go with it at all, but I have been living in this, honestly. I have been wearing this a lot with like a black skirt and leggings, or sometimes just leggings when I'm chilling out at home. And it's just the perfect sweater for this in-between weather where it's chilly, but it's not cold. So this has been perfect. Right, so should we talk about finished objects first? Because I have finished two things. I finished my Halloween socks, I think last week or the week before. These are self-strapping socks that I knit out of 50 grams of Fab Funky fibers in the delightful Nightmare colorway. And then I just used my own sort of neon pink and neon yellow for heels, cuffs, and toes. As you may be able to tell, they don't exactly match, but the big purple stripes match. So I think they're really fun and I can't wait to wear them because I will wear them. I won't wait until Halloween. I named them my Halloween socks. I'm not even sure if it's a Halloween colorway. But yeah, these will go straight into my sock drawer and I'm really excited by them. I also, the other day, I finished my ribbed hat, which I haven't gotten around to blocking yet. So excuse that. But here it is. It is a 2x2 ribbed hat. The yarn that I used is stuck to another project. This is La Mana Como in the colorway number 15. And this yarn comes in 25-gram balls. It's not the cheapest yarn, I will say, which is why I only bought 50 grams. And that was plenty for a hat for me, even with the fold over brim. So yeah, I just need to give this a good block and then this will be ready to go onto my head, which is exciting. So yeah, another finished project. While I finished a few things, I also cast on even more things. Sorry, I had a quick work emergency come up because I am doing this on my lunch break. But in terms of casting on new things, the first thing I started was another mystery knit along. So as you all know, I never finished this year's Stephen West one, and I probably won't. I was debating modifying it, but I don't think so. I think I'd rather pick a different shawl of his, because I do enjoy his shawls. But I might be better off picking one that I know I like 100% and then knitting that rather than spend a lot of time knitting something I don't really like. But that didn't stop me from purchasing the MKAL, the mystery knit along that is currently being run by Hohi Locatelli. I think it's called the One Love MKAL. I originally just purchased it because it was quite affordable. I think it was like £2 or £3. And then I got convinced to actually start it. And this is a much sort of less intense knit along in that you need one skein of fingering weight yarn. And the yarn that I'm using is one that I got from a sort of discounted mystery box from Zakami Yarns last year, I think. So this is her baby alpaca, cashmere, and I don't know, silk, wool, something, I know it has baby alpaca and cashmere, and it is ridiculously soft. And this, like I said, turned up in my mystery box. And it's this color. It's really hard to tell. It looks very cream, but it does have a light sort of pink sheen to it. It's really beautiful. And I didn't really know what to do with this, because obviously it's a much more luxurious yarn than what I usually use. So I decided to use this for my mystery knit along, and then I saw someone else do this on Ravelry. I decided to use some mohair for the lace sections. The downside is this was a random ball, a part ball, I think, that I had kicking around. So if I run out of this, I have no idea where to get more, because I don't even know the brand. But we shall see. We'll figure something out. So I will show you my shawl. If you don't want to see a spoiler, please do look away, because I have finished clues 1 and 2. And this is where we are. I think it is very, very pretty. As you can see, unlike the Mystery Knit Along by Stephen West, this is smaller clues. It's a smaller shawl. It's very simple so far, and I think it's very pretty. You just have these lace sections paired with the garter stitch. As you can see, you can slightly tell a different color and texture with the mohair on the lace, but it's quite subtle. And I think this will be very pretty. I just really hope I have enough of this. If not, I did pick out some other sort of more bright pink mohair, which initially I didn't want to use for this, but I could. So I think I'll just see how the clues go, and I do still have quite a substantial amount of this as well, so I might be fine. It just depends on how much lace Hohi makes us do, but we shall see. And yeah, so this is where we are. I did size down needle-wise, because I think you're supposed to use 4.5 or even bigger. And that just, I felt like that was going to give me too gappy of a fabric. So I'm using a 4.5, and I'm also a loose knitter. If it does turn out too small, then I think there is an option to make it bigger. So I will just modify. So that is one new thing that I started. Another project that I started, because I basically went through my stash looking for a couple of options for this shawl. I also caked up this yarn, which I was very tempted to use this, and I still think this will make a great shawl one day. This is Kettle Yarn Co. that I bought together with 2 different colors last year at the Woolwich Make Joy Yarn Festival, which I'll talk about in a second. I bought 3 different colors to make a striped garment of some kind, and then I looked at the colors recently and decided I won't use them together. So I thought about using this, but I didn't. But I also caked up a yarn which is beautiful, and this has been kicking around my stash since my Munich days, and I think even towards the beginning of my Munich days. So this may be like 7 or 8 year old stash. This is a Madeline Tosh Merino Light in, I believe it's the Spectrum colorway. Do I have the label? No, I don't. But it's a very old skein of yarn. It's very, very beautiful. It's singles, merino singles. Do you remember when this yarn used to be all the rave? I feel like there was a time when Madeline Tosh was everywhere, and then I haven't really seen it much recently. But I decided to cast on, of course, another Musselburgh hat. So this is where we are at, because clearly I finished my socks. I haven't actually started any new socks, but I needed some stockinette knitting to take to the yarn show, to take on my commute and so on. And isn't this beautiful? I feel like this is the perfect use of merino singles, because it'll make a super, super cozy hat. The variegation works really well, I think. And unlike like a garment, I mean, it might become a little bit fluffy, but it won't disintegrate. It'll be fine. And I think this is so pretty. So yeah, this is the Musselburgh hat by Isolde Teague, except I don't do the fancy cast on. I just cast on 8 stitches and sew them up, which takes about a minute and gives you the exact same result. I also, for this one and for a couple of the ones that I've recently done, I did knit front back increases. So they're slightly different, but not massively. And clearly now I'm just at the point of knitting in the round, which is great for train knitting and so on. So yeah, I've been enjoying this hat, which likely will be for myself, we'll see, but I am making the adult small, which tends to be my preference with these hats. I think I just like my hats relatively snug. Probably won't make this one to have a fold over brim, but just sort of like a double hat. And yeah, I should have enough yarn. So yeah, that is another project that I have started. Before we get to the big project that I've started, I'll quickly show you my Olga sweater because I'm finally working on it again. I think I mentioned last week that I did pick it up again. So this is the Olga by Petite Knit. It's a striped jumper. I already have one version made out of Rauwerk yarn, which I love. I love the fit. I've been wearing it loads. It's like the perfect sweatshirt. So in addition to making this one, which I'll tell you about in just a second, at Woolwich at the Make Joy event, I bought another sweaters quantity of Rauwerk to make another one of these because I love it so much. So this version is very different. I was going to knit this along with my sister as I think her second or third sweater, except she finished really quickly and then I forgot. But this is out of the same yarn that she used, which is... this isn't awkward at all. This is Drops Cotton Merino in 2 colors. As you can see, the pink is sort of marred, whereas the red is solid. And yeah, this is where we are. I keep trying it on, and A, I love how this looks when I'm wearing it. I think it's so cool. I love it. And B, I always try it on. I'm like, it must be long enough now, and it never is. But I think now I'm at the point where I need 5 more centimeters, and then I can start the ribbing for the length that I want for this. Obviously, it is quite oversized. Not massively, but it's definitely got a fair bit of positive ease, so I don't want it to be too long. So yeah, I have been plugging away, and next time I talk to you, I want to be at least on the bottom ribbing. Ideally, I would like to be on a sleeve, but we shall see. This is a bit boring to knit. I think it's because I like the yarn in terms of the end result, but I don't love knitting with it. So it's dragging on a bit, but I'm really trying to make some progress and hopefully start the sleeves on this soon because I think the sleeves should be quite quick. So that is my one garment that is on the needles, but much more importantly, I started a new one. So I may have mentioned last time I recorded, I think 2 weeks ago, that I desperately want to make another sweater by Trin Anneli, who designed this beautiful iris sweater. And I had bought her kit to make the Old Compass sweater. So I have started it. I have started the Old Compass. It's another sweater using Holzgarn Super Soft. Once again, I purchased the original kit in the original colors from Holst in Denmark and had it sent here to the UK, which for me has always worked really well. It's very affordable with this kind of yarn. So I feel like it's amazing that you can get a really sort of complicated looking sweater for, I don't know, probably with postage less than £40. So yes, this is where we are. My needles are slightly too short to show you exactly how it looks, but it is a top-down raglan construction. So this one doesn't have any steeks, unlike this one. So you start with some very, very interesting short rows, which I will mention I did modify because I was a bit confused, and I've noticed, let's just mention it now. I've noticed this sort of funnel neck looks really beautiful, but on some people there's a bit too much fabric in the front, and the short rows that are in this pattern, while very interesting, I thought didn't really address that. So I did the short rows as planned and then started knitting on the color work to have a bit of like substantial knitting. And then I did pick up my provisional cast on, and instead of going straight into the rib, I then sort of knitting the other way, added some more short rows on the back. So in the original, basically both the front and the back have the same depth here, but I added a little bit of length to hopefully at least make it a little bit easier in terms of the fabric and wearing it. It won't make a massive difference, but it hopefully will just that little bit. And then, as you can tell, I've already done the neck because I like having that out of the way. I think that makes the sweater look better as I'm working on it, and then you can tell a bit more about the fit as you keep trying it on. And yeah, I just wanted to get it done. And now I am just working on the color work, which I think it's beautiful, isn't it? My camera somehow finds this specific sweater hard to photograph, so we'll see how the video comes out. But yeah, it's just color work, the same gauge as this one, I think like 28 gauge. I'm using 3mm needles. I used 2.5 for the rib. And obviously now, because I am sort of on, I don't know, maybe the last quarter of the raglan increases, it's quite a lot of stitches as you're sort of going over the shoulders as well. But once I get through the increases and separate for the body and the sleeves, obviously it will be much easier and I won't have to worry about increasing in color work and all of that as well. And yeah, this is just so meditative. I just love this kind of color work. It makes me so happy. And the result, I mean, I love it so much. I mean, even this one, it's the same yarn with like a fine fingering, all over stranded color work, and it just makes for a sweater that's really light, but also really surprisingly warm, I think, especially with the color work. And yeah, it makes me very, very happy. So yeah, that is my old compass sweater. I am, I think, knitting size 4, although don't quote me on that. I did put it on my Ravelry, so you can look it up if you're interested. I do want this to have quite a bit of ease, not massively oversized, but I think I'm going for something like, I forgot. Off the top of my head, I think I'm going for like 15-ish centimeters of positive ease. Yeah, so that's where we are. Once again, the pattern is written very well. I feel like she gives you all the information you need. I am doing split splicing for the color changes, so the only colors that I'm cutting is the brown because it's just like one row of color work. So it doesn't make sense to change all of the strands. So I just weave in a couple of ends, but everything else, I don't need to do any weaving in of ends. And these are the floats. They're not too long. She tells you where to catch your floats, but I think with this one you barely need to. It's just over the raglan that every now and then you have to catch them. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward chart and I love it. So that is my sort of next big color work garment project, and I could not be more excited about it. I'm just all about the like non-super washable color work. It makes me incredibly happy. Right, so that is basically what I have been working on. I did go to Make Joy Woolwich over last Saturday? And apologies if you did see me, if I whizzed past you. It was a very, very busy day at the end of a very, very busy week, and it's all been a bit manic. So if I did see you, if I was all over the place, then that is why I feel like I sort of jumped in, bought way too much yarn, and then raced home again because we also had someone staying at our house. We had my husband and his friend were sort of remodeling and fixing things all over our house, and my 5-year-old was in the middle of all of that. So yeah, there was a lot going on, but honestly, I had such a great time at the show. I went last year, which I think was the first time they ran that yarn show, and really enjoyed it. And this year was even better. I think they had slightly more vendors, but not too many where you felt overwhelmed. I feel like this time they had exactly the sort of right amount, if you can say so. And I didn't really go in with a plan, which is always a bad thing. I have been quite good at not buying yarn, but I always sort of planned in, because this was my first yarn show that I went to all of 2025. So I always sort of planned in that things would happen. The only rough plan that I had was to get some more Rauwerk yarn to make another Olga sweater, which I did. And otherwise I went in with very much no plan at all. But I did buy 3 sweater quantities of yarn, which I'll show you sort of as I use them. I think I don't want to just be flashing skeins of yarn at you. I also, I saw I believe the owner of Ted Knits, I presume it would have been Ted, I don't know. They wore the most stunning 2-color shawl, which was a shawl by Twinset and Pearls. I always forget the name, but it's one of their 2-color ones. I think they have a couple, and I've knit the Simon shawl before, which was a similar concept, and I enjoyed. And I fell in love with it, and I could not for the life of me decide on a color combination. Like, I picked one, then went for some cake and a cup of tea and came back, and I still couldn't choose, so I may have bought 2 different color combinations. So hopefully I will cast that on soon, because that is a shawl that I would like to actually get on the needles and knit with my friend and colleague who was with me at the Yarn Festival. But yeah, it was such a buzz. It was really, really good. But then I completely crashed at home, and honestly, after a yarn show or anything sort of exciting, and like traveling home with like train delays and all the things that always happen when you go anywhere, I was just so knackered. But I came home to my entire house basically being a building site. So that was quite stressful, but nevertheless, I think I'm already decided I want to go again next year. Because also Make Joy is one of the few yarn shows around that are easy to get to for me, considering we don't drive, we don't have a car. And a lot of the shows, you think they're sort of close to London, but really for me, I have to go into London and then out of London again to some random building somewhere that to me seems like the middle of nowhere. So this one and the knitting and stitching show are sort of the easy ones for me to get to. And yeah, the knitting and stitching show can still be quite pricey in terms of tickets, whereas Make Joy, I think with the early bird pricing, the ticket was like £8. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would have loved to go to some of the talks. I think there was one about ergonomic knitting, which I would have loved to go to, but I just didn't have the time. I did meet Vincent and Max of Les Garçons, which was lovely. I did buy some of their yarn as well. They had like an after party, which I think would have been very fun, but again, I just didn't have the time, but maybe one day I will. So yeah, that is me talking about my acquisitions without showing any acquisitions, which maybe is a silly format, but I just wanted to give you a quick rundown rather than just flash you with like, here's this skein and here's that skein, and yeah. You will see the yarn hopefully very soon, because I would love to actually use it rather than stash it away. So we'll see what happens, and do remind me if you just never see anything about that. Right, I definitely have to go back to work, but I just wanted to get a quick update in terms of my knitting projects out to you. Thank you so much for watching today. I really hope you enjoy this podcast. Do let me know, as always, what you are knitting on, because I love to see all your projects and patterns, suggestions and so on. So please do keep those coming, although it makes me start even more things, which is not, I don't know, is it a good idea? I don't know. If you're also knitting the Hohi mystery knit along, let me know how you're liking it. I'm not sure if any of my viewers are making that. And I think there's quite a few of you who did make the Stephen West one. So if you finished that, please do tell me about it, because I am interested. Even though I didn't finish mine, my friend and colleague finished hers, and it is stunning. I particularly like Clue 4. I think that looks really great, both in the brioche and the garter stitch versions. So yeah, let me know what you have been up to. I shall catch up with you again in a couple of weeks, hopefully next week. We'll see how it goes. And until then, thank you so much for watching. Happy knitting. Take care. Bye.